Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fasciano, and today is another episode of my Sip It or Skip It series. Before I get into this, I just want to let everybody know that I really appreciate all of the support that you have been showing me over the past year or so. I just hit my 5,000 subscriber mark on December 26th, and I want to thank everybody for watching the videos, liking the videos, making comments down below, sharing these videos with everybody. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I am overwhelmed by the amount of support that I'm getting from this whiskey community. Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and get on to today's Sip It or Skip It. If you are new to this series, I have all of my whiskeys randomized on my phone. I'm going to spin the wheel, whatever it selects. I'm going to pull it off the shelf and do a quick review, and then let you know if I'm going to keep sipping on the bottle until it's gone, and then I'm going to replace it because I like it, or once the bottle is gone, I'm going to skip it and move on to something else. So let's spin the wheel, see what we're doing today. All right, we've got Johnnie Walker, Game of Thrones White Walker. All right, this is actually going to be a fresh crack for me. I ended up getting 3 of these bottles, and they're just up on the shelf. I never opened them. So this is going to be an experience, and I think this one is meant to be in the freezer. So let me go ahead and get this thing into the freezer, get it really cold, and then I'll be back probably in about 20 minutes. I think that's how long it'll take. In the meantime, do me a favor. If you're not subscribed to the channel, and after you watch this video, you like it, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if you are familiar with Johnnie Walker or any of the Johnnie Walker Game of Thrones editions. Let me know what you think of it. Share this video with somebody. Do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. All right, I'm gonna get this thing chilled and I'll be right back. Actually, I changed my mind. What I'm gonna end up doing is do both. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this right now, and then I'm gonna throw it into the freezer and see what it's like being cold. I do believe, obviously, this is going to be a blended Scotch. I know absolutely nothing about this at all. So all the information for this is right here, along with my tallies up to this point with my Sip It or Skip It series. Tell you what, it's been a depressing, well, not really a depressing, but it's been a struggle in December. Every single one of my Sip It or Skip It's were Skip It's. So frozen for an unexpected icy reveal. All right, I'm just gonna do a quick taste and then get this thing into the freezer. Smells fruity, a little bit sweet. Does have a little bit of, what is that? It smells, it's malty. It smells a little damp or musty. I know I've used those words before to describe a Scotch. It has a wet basement, wet attic, wet earth, wet cardboard type nose to it. It a little bit of pepper and a little bit of citrus and light fruit. All right, let's get it on the palate. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this at room temperature. That's a little strange. It is a little thin on the palate. Again, I need to remind myself of this. This is 41.7% ABV. I ended up paying $46.99 for this. It does have a Scotch note to it. It does have that malt. It has a little bit of fruitiness, light fruits, some around the peach area. Not very viscous, feels pretty thin. Not much to talk about with the finish. Does have a little bit of candy sweetness. I would say it's pretty nondescript. I mean, you know you're drinking a Scotch, but that's pretty much it. Well balanced, nothing sharp, but there's nothing there to overwhelm the palate. All right, let's get this in the freezer. We'll be right back. All right, so that was a little bit over an hour, and that's pretty well frosted, pretty cold. I pulled the other 2 bottles out, so let's get this one chilled, poured. Oh man, that is very syrupy. That's thick. All right, that poured out like syrup. Looking at the color of the 2, cold. This seems to be a little bit lighter. And I did some editing on the first half of that video, and I was sipping on the warm one. It came across as more peppery the longer it stayed in the glass. That is thick. Let's go ahead and get this one quickly on the palate. Smells the same. A little bit cough syrupy, so that's sweetness, and the thickness, maybe it's the viscosity that reminds me of cough syrup. But all of those notes are still there. They're subdued a little. Pepper, citrus, the peach, the lighter fruits, that malty, damp, wet basement, wet grass, wet decaying leaves. When you chill something, the flavors are not as robust. I still get a little amount of heat, which is interesting, being 41% ABV. What was that again? 41.7% ABV. That is cold. And before I actually put this in the freezer, this is the blend. And it looks like they're using malt from Cardew and Clynelish. And according to the back of the label, Clynelish is one of the northernmost distilleries in Scotland. They do chill filter this down to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And it says that it's best served cold, directly from the freezer. Yeah, that is cold. All right. It's actually kind of chilling the glass a little bit too. So really quick on the nose, I do get a peppery smokiness to this. I wouldn't say that it's peated, and I don't necessarily know if Clynelish actually has peat in their distillate or their whiskey itself, but there is a pepper smoke, but not a peat note, if that makes sense. I still get everything from the room temperature, just subdued. Yeah, room temperature is definitely pepper forward. The citrus is still there. The peach note is still there. The sweetness is there. The chilled, everything's subdued. Yeah, I wouldn't say that there is anything much different with it over ice. I don't think there's anything different with this being chilled over the room temperature. All of the notes are there. They're just dialed back. And I think that's expected when you chill something. It hides a little bit of the nuances. So my guess is this is probably going to be a novelty item. As this starts to cool off or warm up in the glass, it will offer something different, and it'll eventually turn back to the peppery, fruity, citrus notes. Like I said at the very beginning, there's nothing sharp about this at all. So is it going to be a sip or a skip? Because of the novelty, obviously I think it's going to be a sip. If you have an opportunity to try these, I think it would be kind of a cool theme night or a theme flight to have. And eventually these will pop up in the Sip It or Skip It series. But for this one, once this bottle is gone, I am not going to be looking to replace it. It will be a skip for me. But like I had mentioned, I think this would be a pretty cool themed night to throw these things into a flight, have people over. They're not off-putting in any way. I think this is something that you can sip on in an experience. Being a blended Scotch, there's nothing wrong with it. Being a low ABV, I think it would do well within the flight. And the whole aspect of the novelty, maybe have Game of Thrones playing on the TV while you taste your way through this whole thing. Let me know in the comments down below if you have had any of these. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if you like them, dislike them. Are they a sip or a skip for you? That's where I'm going to leave it today. Just like always, wherever you're at in your journey, especially now, this is 2024, as I'm shooting this video, the first Sip It or Skip It in January. And we're carrying on the trend from December with another skip. But hey, next Wednesday, we're spinning the wheel again. Maybe we'll get something that's actually a sip. I hope you're enjoying your journey. We'll talk to you next time. Bye. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. Happy New Year.